Let's talk about Windows tools. In particular, the system configuration utility known as Msconfig. If you're using Vista or newer, you can go into the Start menu, and in that search files and folders box, you can just simply type msconfig, and as you can see, it will find it. Now, if you're using something a little older, like say Windows XP, you would need to bring up your Start menu, and you'd somewhere down here around the bottom, you'd actually, or maybe even over here, you'd have the word Run. You'd click on that, it would open up a little search dialog box, and in that box, you would type msconfig. Let's go ahead and let's bring up the program, and let me learn how to type properly too. There we go. And as you can see now, I've got a selective startup going on here. There's a couple of things. Do a diagnostic startup, which can be useful, or you can do normal. Now mine's selective. I have changed some services and previously made some changes to some startup items. But let's go over here to startup. This is pretty much the bread and butter. This is probably a good 90% of what the Msconfig utility is used for. These are items, services, processes, whatnot, programs that are slated to start and run on your computer when Windows boots up, when Windows loads. Now keep in mind that because these are things that start with Windows, if you disable them, you're not going to notice a difference, or it's not going to come up as disabled until Windows is restarted. So, we've got all these things here, and so, of course, a lot of malware and spyware sometimes likes to add stuff in here, like to add features. So, if you're in here and you see something that shouldn't be there, maybe perhaps related to spyware or malware of some sort, you could disable it from starting up with Windows, maybe a particular program, and that might aid in perhaps removing it from the system. Now you can see here I do have one thing disabled for just for this example here, the DivX update. It's a little program right there, and as you can see, it's still, a new version is available, and as you can see, even though I've disabled that, it was still down there because I had not rebooted yet. Now it's gone now because I closed out that box, but the process is still running in the background. Now you'll see here it tells you the manufacturer, basically who makes this software or this startup item, if you will. iTunes, okay, obviously it's made by Apple. QuickTime, okay, well that's made by Apple. Now we go over here and it shows us the command. And basically, this is the path. This is where, excuse me, where in your Windows system here, the file, the actual executable file that each of these items is attached to is located, as well as any attributes that may be on those files. Such as up here, we've got that's an A. I'm sorry, that's an S, so that's system. And then over here on the right, to the next category over, we have location. And what this is this is the location in the registry. And your registry is a hierarchical database that Windows uses to manage all the good stuff that runs in the background. And this just simply tells you where in the registry it's located. And as you can see, everything's in a different spot. And then over here we've got date disabled. And if we scroll down to the bottom of the list where we had disabled that DivX update, you'll notice it's got today's date, the 11th. And then there's DivX update disabled. As you notice, there's no checkbox there, unlike no check in the box like there is with the other startup items. And then the other part is the startup tools area. This is a very useful, this sort of makes the system configuration utility almost like a command center for Windows. From here you can launch several useful and necessary Windows tools to change a variety of settings or configuration related information, even computer management. You can get your system information, all kinds of good stuff, and even bring up Event Viewer. So it's a very versatile tool, and it can launch several other tools itself. And then over here we also have services, and these services, there's different services that run that are attached to Windows. And just like with the startup, unchecking this box is not going to not going to immediately stop a service. It is going to disable it, and it's going to flag Windows to say, hey, next time you start up, yeah, don't start this service. So once again, none of these things really take effect until after you're able to restart Windows. Now, if you are in the Services tab on this particular tool and you are looking at things and you're perhaps going to be unchecking or disabling some services, I would highly recommend checking this box to hide all Microsoft services. Because, well, the last thing you want to do is accidentally disable something that's critical for Windows to run, or some component of it. And as you can see, checking that box makes this list a lot shorter. And you can see how much that really takes off. That way you know that you're only dealing with third-party applications. And that's about it. That's pretty much the major parts of the Windows System Configuration Utility known as Msconfig.